Boba Fett. For a guy hyped as the galaxy's greatest bounty hunter, Boba Fett sure went out like a Saturday morning cartoon villain. In Return of the Jedi, Fett is standing on Jabba's sail barge, aiming at Luke mid-fight. Meanwhile, Han Solo, fresh out of carbonite and still basically blind, is just trying not to fall off a desert boat. When chaos breaks out, Han blindly swings a metal pole, which just so happens to smack Boba's jetpack. What happens next is part slapstick, part tragedy. Boba's jetpack malfunctions, launches him directly into Jabba's sail barge, and drops him into the Sarlacc pits like a worn-out action figure. No duel, no glory, just a bland man swinging and gravity doing the rest. For decades, fans couldn't believe it. Some called it the most random death in mankind's history. Others joked, "You can't convince me Boba wasn't drunk during this fight." Compared to Din Djarin, he fights like a glitching NPC. Even Robot Chicken gave this moment its own skit. Because yeah, it's that dumb. Canon eventually gave him a second chance in the book of Boba Fett, where he survives the Sarlacc and claws his way back. Cool, but it doesn't erase the fact that for almost 40 years, Boba Fett's last act was getting dunked by a half-blind smuggler with a stick. His armor has missiles, sensors, flamethrowers, yet none of it saved him from becoming Jabba's projectile. Sometimes the Force works in mysterious ways. Sometimes it just says, yeet. Coleman Trebor. Coleman Trebor had the height, the robes, the Jedi Council seat, and somehow none of that stopped him from dying like a background extra. In Attack of the Clones, the Jedi stormed the Geonosis arena. It's absolute chaos. Lightsabers flashing, Jedi falling, monsters rampaging. And in the middle of all this, Master Trebor sees Count Dooku just standing on a balcony, like a final boss waiting for aggro. Instead of calling for backup or using the Force to pull him down, Trebor does what any high-level NPC would. He jumps straight at him. He gets one blaster deflection in, credit where it's due. But then Jango Fett, standing next to Dooku, casually fires 3 more shots. Trebor takes them all, stumbles, and falls backward of the balcony. No saber throw, no Force push, no final words, just a short hop and a shorter career. And the internet never let him live it down. This guy was on the Jedi Council, bro ran out of Force points after the jump. Even that Temple Padawan did better. Ironically, Trebor specialized in Form 3 Soresu, the most defensive lightsaber form. He was trained to block blaster fire, that's literally his thing. But against Jango, he folded like origami. Jango Fett was no slouch. He gave Obi-Wan trouble and fought in gladiator rings. But even fans joked that Trebor must have been a biologist or something, drafted last minute because Mace Windu needed bodies on the ground. He died fast, fell hard, and left behind the most legendary 3-second L in Jedi Council history, Greedo. Some characters leave behind legacies. Greedo left behind a smoking pile of green Rodian and a controversy that just won't die. In A New Hope, Greedo confronts Han Solo inside the Mos Eisley Cantina. He's a bounty hunter sent by Jabba the Hutt, either to collect Han's debts or to shoot him if he refuses. Greedo sits down across from Han, points a blaster at his chest, and gives him the "you're coming with me" speech. Han, still cool under pressure, chats him up while slowly unholstering his own blaster under the table. Then it happens. Han shoots him, point blank. Greedo slumps forward. Done. The entire scene lasts less than a minute, and Greedo fails every bounty hunter skill check in the book. No armor, no backup, no tactics, and apparently no functioning depth perception. But then came the edits. In the 1997 special edition, George Lucas added a shot from Greedo to make Han look less cold-blooded, and thus, the who shot first debate was born. In later versions, Greedo actually yells, "McClunky," before firing and missing, like a warning shots from a legally confused lawyer. No subtitles, no explanation, just McClunky. By 2024, fans were joking that in the next edits, the two will settle their differences over dinner and a musical number, and somehow, that would still make more sense than Greedo missing from 2 feet away. Whether Han shot first or only, the result's the same. Greedo walks into a bar and dies in under 60 seconds. He failed his boss, missed his shot, and got immortalized as a meme. In the Star Wars universe, there are bad bounty hunters, and then there's Greedo, patron saints of friendly fire and bad editing. Paz Vizsla. Paz Vizsla's death wasn't dumb because of what he did. It was dumb because of how alone he was forced to do it. In The Mandalorian Season 3, Paz stays behind to cover the retreats of his fellow warriors. It's the definition of a noble sacrifice. He seals the door, faces down a platoon of elite stormtroopers, and shreds them with his heavy repeater like a Mandalorian boss battle. And just when it seems he might survive, the Praetorian Guards show up like the final phase of a Dark Souls boss fight. Quiet, elegant, and overpowered. They don't speak, they don't hesitate. They just carve through Paz like he's the checkpoint before the real villain. He gets no backup, no reinforcements, just a heavy gun, a cracked visor, and a line of dialogue fans will never forget. This is the way. The dumb part? How it was ever allowed to happen. Paz was a one-man army, but he wasn't invincible. The Mandalorians could have fought together. Bo-Katan could have stayed. Din could have helped. But nope, Paz becomes the sacrificial lamb. For a character with that much loyalty, strength, and development, it felt more like a scripted exit than a real consequence. The galaxy lost an absolute tank of a warrior because the plot demanded it. It's not a death fans laugh at, it's one they mourn, and that's what makes it hurt more. He went out like a hero, but maybe he didn't have to go out at all. Zed Tsukasa. Zed Tsukasa didn't go down like a background youngling. He went down like a mini Jedi Master who forgot what franchise he was in. During the Jedi Purge in Revenge of the Sith, Bail Organa arrives at the Jedi Temple gates, only to find clone troopers executing Jedi in broad daylight. Enter Zed, a teenage Padawan who straight up charges a squad of clone troopers and starts slicing them down like he's doing choreography for a lightsaber music video. He blocks, spins, redirects blaster fire, actually takes out multiple clones. For about 10 glory seconds, Zed is the most competent Jedi in the entire temple. Even Bail has a pause, like, wait, who is this kid? Then the camera cuts, the music swells, and Zed gets mowed down. No backup, no cover, just pure force energy and a dream. The whole thing is over almost as fast as it starts. 1 minute he's spinning like he's in the Clone Wars finale, the next he's face down in the courtyard while Bail Organa watches in horror. The dumb part? Not the spin. The spin was awesome. The dumb part is that no one backed him up. Where was everyone? The temple had hundreds of Jedi. Did Zed just miss the group text? In real life, this moment hits harder when you find out Zed was played by George Lucas's son, Jet, which explains why he got the coolest Padawan fight scene in the trilogy. Zed's death wasn't just sad, it was cinematic. He went full anime protagonist in a movie full of people dying off screen. Fans still debate how many clones he took out. The answer? Enough to make you say, wait, this kid kinda cooked. Dumb death? Maybe situationally, but if you're going out during Order 66, go out like Zed. Trench. Admiral Trench might be the only Star Wars villain to die twice and get cloned both times. In the Clone Wars Season 2, he's the big bad at the Battle of Christophsis, a spider alien with a deep voice and ego to match. Trench plays mind games with the Republic until Anakin Skywalker ignores the playbook. Instead of negotiating, Anakin cloaks a cruiser, flies it right up to Trench's face, and blasts it with torpedoes. Boom! Spider guts everywhere. Case closed? Not even close. In Season 7, Trench returns. This time, he's more machine than arachnid, patched together with cybernetics and Big Boss energy. He's running a major offensive on Anaxis. And once again, the Republic crashes his party. Clone Force 99 outmaneuvers him, Echo feeds intel to Anakin, and by the time Trench realizes the plan's falling apart, Anakin is already in his control room. Trench tries to stall, tries to bluff. Then, like a true villain, he goes for the cheap move, zaps Anakin with a built-in electroshock from his robotic arm. Spoiler, Anakin does not care. He's already halfway to Sith mode. He tanks the electricity and stabs Trench straight through the chest without blinking. That moment? Legendary. Fans compare it to Vader's apology accepted. Captain Nita, line, cold, clean, over. Trench dies mid-zap, mid-sentence, and mid-failure. Again, he had 2 chances and lost both by underestimating the one guy who doesn't play fair. His last words? Doesn't matter. He got Anakin'd. Yaddle. Yaddle's death in Tales of the Jedi might just be the quietest mic drop in Star Wars. Yes, she's that one Jedi Council member who looked like Yoda but sounded suspiciously like Bryce Dallas Howard. No, she didn't speak in reverse. Yes, The internet was confused. After Qui-Gon Jinn's death, Yaddle gets suspicious, rightfully so, because Count Dooku is hanging around Sithy alleyways and brooding harder than ever. She tails him to the warehouse where he meets with Darth Sidious, aka Galactic Gaslighter Supreme, and here's the worst Team Evil pitch since the Empire's Death Star 2.0 proposal. Instead of reporting him, Yaddle tries to talk Dooku down. She's kind, calm, and surprisingly brave. Classic mediator energy. She even lifts a giant metal door using the Force, while dying just to offer him a final chance. It's a power move made more powerful with the Force theme swelling in the background. Dooku, he looks conflicted for about half a second, then impales her through the stomach and lets the door slam shut like he's had enough redemption arcs for one episode. Brutal. To make it worse, this moment happens in front of Palpatine, who's basically smirking like he just secured a 2-for-1 Sith discount. Dooku's act of betrayal seals his fate as a Sith Lord. Meanwhile, Yaddle's heroic stand becomes the answer to every fan's question. Wait, where was she during the Phantom Menace? Yaddle didn't go down because she was weak. She went down because she was hopeful, and hope, unfortunately, doesn't deflect lightsabers. But in her final moment, she stood for compassion, for Jedi values, and for the better version of Dooku that could have been. In a franchise full of dramatic exits, Yaddle's hits quietly, but it hits hard. Lord Khan. Lord Khan wasn't your typical Sith warlord. He was charismatic, good-looking, and weirdly into group projects. As leader of the Brotherhood of Darkness during the New Sith Wars, Legends, Khan didn't rule with fear alone. He ruled with speeches, forced persuasion, and enough fake unity talk to make a team-building retreat blush. "We are all equals," he'd say, while low-key brainwashing half the room to agree with him. The thing is, Khan was a master of mind tricks, not minds of steel. His whole Brotherhood looked like a TikTok cult with lightsabers, strong in numbers, but spiritually lost. And while Khan did have real power, battle meditation, military strategy, raw force strength, he was also deeply insecure. Enter Darth Bane. Bane saw through the whole Kumbaya Sith nonsense. While Khan tried to rally the troops with team-building exercises, Bane studied ancient Sith text and realized, yeah, this guy's gonna get us all killed. And he was right. At the final battle on Ruusan, Bane convinced Khan and his followers to use the Thought Bomb, an ancient Sith ritual that weaponized their own Force energy into a giant psychic nuke. Khan, in peak motivational speaker mode, rallied everyone into the cave to activate it, and boom! Literal boom. The Thought Bomb wiped out every Sith and Jedi in range. Khan vaporized. The Brotherhood gone. All that's left is a crater, a haunted cave, and the galaxy's most extreme example of pure pressure. So, no, he didn't just lose a Force battle and nuke himself. He got played into detonating a soul-level superweapon. It's less dark side mastermind, more Force cult leaders meets bad group project. Darth Bane watched it all and thought, this is why we have a rule of two now. Exar Khan. Exar Khan might be one of the most powerful Sith Lords in Legends, and also the only one who rage-quit reality so hard he became a haunted house. Once a rising Jedi Knight, Khan was brilliant, arrogant, and very into forbidden knowledge, which as we all know in Star Wars usually means Sith temples and bad decisions. His fall began on Onderon, where the ghost of Frida Nad basically tried to do a dark side pyramid scheme. Khan resisted, until Nad nearly killed him, facing death. Exar healed himself using the dark side. It was like choosing yes on the Join the Sith pop-up window. After that, Khan renounced the Jedi, visited Korriban, passed a few Sith escape room trials, and then really leaned into the whole evil wizard vibe. He helped kick off the Great Sith War, teamed up with Ulic Qel-Droma, and built a double-bladed lightsaber. Yes, the same kind Darth Maul would make famous thousands of years later, except Exar's wasn't red. It was blue and white, edgy, and on brand. But then things unraveled. Ulic got captured and had his Force connection severed by Jedi Master Nomi Sunrider, still one of the wildest Jedi moves ever. He turned on Khan and revealed his hideout on Yavin 4, surrounded by the Jedi Order and the Republic fleets. Exar Khan realized he couldn't win, so he pulled a last-ditch Sith ritual, sacrificing his own Massassi followers to rip his soul out of his body and bind it to the temple. Yes, he ghosted himself. His body was vaporized, but his spirit haunted Yavin 4 for millennia, later trying to corrupt Luke Skywalker's new Jedi students. Dramatic? Yes. Strategic? No. Exar Khan, incredible dark side power, zero exit strategy. Lumia. Lumia was not your average Sith. She wasn't cackling on the throne or randomly choking subordinates for fun. She was quiet, tactical, and honestly, pretty terrifying. A former Imperial intelligence officer and once an apprentice of Darth Vader, Lumia rebuilt herself. Literally, after a duel with Luke Skywalker left her broken, she was reconstructed with cybernetics and wielded a light whip instead of a lightsaber, because of course she did. Then she vanished into the shadows, working behind the scenes to revive the Sith legacy. No drama, just decades of galactic scale scheming. She trained 2 apprentices, crushed a dark side cult, survived the Yuuzhan Vong War, and most notably, helped corrupt Jacen Solo into becoming Darth Caedus. Yeah, that Darth Caedus. Her whole thing was that the galaxy needed Sith control to survive, so she created her own Sith Lord and threw him into power like a mother pushing her kid on the jungle gym. If the jungle gym was galactic civil war, by the time the Jedi realized she was back, Lumia was 10 steps ahead. She baited Luke Skywalker into chasing her, letting herself become the big, visible threat so Jacen could go full dark side while no one was looking, and then she died. In Legacy of the Force, Sacrifice, Luke finds her, furious over the murder of his wife, and confronts her. Lumia doesn't fight to win. She lets it happen. She even deactivates her light whip mid-fight, something no Sith in their right mind would ever do. It's not some sneaky ploy, it's surrender. Her death was part of her plan, a final act of distraction and closure. She didn't fall for a talk-to-me trick, she was the trick. Lumia went out not as a failure, but as a martyr to her own Sith vision. Dorsk 81. Dorsk 81 might have the single most extreme case of did too much in Star Wars history. He was one of many clones from the planet Calm, where everyone is genetically copied to preserve perfection and ensure nobody stands out. So naturally, Dorsk 81 ran off to become a Jedi, Rebel Arc Unlocked. During a surprise Imperial assault led by Dala and Pelion, Dorsk 81 and Kype Duron barely made it back to the Jedi Praxium in time to warn the others. The students weren't in the main temple, though they were chilling in the temple of the Blue Leaf Cluster, which confused the Empire into bombing the wrong building. Peak stormtrooper accuracy. When the TIE fighters came in, Dorsk started chucking rocks at them using the Force, not deflecting, not lightsaber stuff, literally hurling boulders into the sky, like a medieval trebuchet with Wi-Fi. Then he smacked an AT-ST into a tree, like he was playing Donkey Kong Jedi Edition. It was impressive, but nothing compared to what came next. There were 17 Star Destroyers in orbit. Most Jedi would look up and say, "Let's hide." Dorsk 81 said, "What if I pushed all of them?" So he did, with the help of the other Jedi channeling the Force through him. Dorsk 81 yeeted those Star Destroyers out of the Yavin system like he was cleaning up space trash, and then he died. Because apparently channeling an entire Jedi circle through your Force-sensitive body like a high-voltage battery has side effects. His last words were, "They're gone, my friend," before collapsing into legend. Dorsk 81 didn't just break physics, he broke himself, and in doing so, saved the entire Jedi Order. Not bad for clone number 81, of just be average. Borsk Fela. Borsk Fela was many things: a politician, a schemer, a furball with an ego complex, and somehow a wartime martyr, a Bothan with enough ambition to rival Palpatine. Minus the Force lightning, Borsk spent most of his career trying to climb the galactic political ladder and kicking every rung below him as he went. He rose through the New Republic not with charisma, but with strategy, manipulation, and an uncanny ability to annoy both Jedi and military brass at the same time. His ongoing feud with Admiral Akbar was practically a full-time job. When the Yuuzhan Vong invaded, Borsk did what any overconfident politician would do. He downplayed it. He spent the early days of the war refusing to believe the Vong were even real. Because if you ignore galaxy-ending aliens long enough, maybe they'll just leave. Spoiler, they didn't. By the time they reached Coruscant, Borsk had run out of denials and allies. The Vong were overrunning the capital. The New Republic was collapsing, and Borsk, still clinging to his office, decided he wasn't going out quietly. No, he trapped a thermal detonator to himself, stood tall in his ruined government building, and took 25,000 Yuuzhan Vong warriors down with him in one fiery moment of bolt-on drama. It was loud, it was extra, and it might be the most politician way to die in Star Wars. Sure, Borsk spent most of his career undermining heroes, antagonizing the Jedi, and trying to make the war about his approval ratings. But when it counted, he made it count. He didn't go down swinging like a Jedi or scheming like a Sith. he just went down in flames, while taking an entire Fong battalion with him, which, to be fair, is more helpful than he was for most of his political career. In a galaxy full of epic force powers and ancient prophecies, sometimes you just get blindsided by a stick, a clone, or your own ego. These deaths weren't always noble, but they were unforgettable. And hey, someone had to make the Force laugh.